Right. So what did we learn in our previous class session?
Learn about JavaScript, what are the like advantage of JavaScript, why we use JavaScript, why we need JavaScript.
Okay. And we learned about robot class, right? Out SQL is other type, or if you want to file upload, how to upload using robot class, which is inbuilt in Java library. We have learned that as well, right? Key press, key release. See this thing, and how to access the system clipboard. So to access the system clipboard and then work with robot class, and then we move to JavaScript executor, purpose of JavaScript executor, and the three different ways of executing JavaScript. First one, finding the element using applying the JavaScript on it. We are finding the element using the WebDriver and then applying JavaScript on it. Second method, finding the element in JavaScript and applying JavaScript executor. Both we are finding and applying on the same JavaScript executor. Third one, we are finding the element using JavaScript and then returning it to the WebDriver and performing the operation on the WebDriver. So these are the three different ways that we have learned on JavaScript executor. Today, with that, we have already completed almost all the topics of Selenium. So today we are going to see page object model and page factory model. Okay. So what is this page object model or page factory model? See, now if you see any of the scripts that we have written, let me go to any of these scripts. Okay. You see here, if you look at the script, here on the script itself, on the same class itself, we are trying to find the element. We have the locator, we have the WebDriver method driver.find element. We have the locator, we have the operation, and we have the data. So everything is in the same place. Okay. For example, let us consider the login of Orange HR. Now what happens here is, see, I have, and I'm entering the username, I'm entering the password, and then clicking on some button. Okay. For now, the username is txt username, the password is txt password. We are identifying those by these locators. So we used the same usernames and password in each of the class that we have created. You see, in each of the class, wherever we used Orange HRM, we used the same identification, right, in multiple places. What will happen? One fine day, Orange HRM changes the locator value, or it changes the ID from txt username to username underscore txt. Will you be able to update all the classes where you have used it? Or is it okay for you to do like that? No, right? You want to, you don't want to update hundreds of classes for one element change. Correct or not? It will become a ridiculous maintenance activity, right? If you do like this. You're getting my point? So that is the reason we have a concept called page object model or page factory model. What do we do as part of this page object model is we split or we divide the operations and the element locators, and also if you observe here, we are having the elements of login. We are performing the operations of login page and the operations of the home page, and also the operations of the add employee page. So everything we are writing in a single page, single class. For suppose the home page got changed, the PIM link is changed. We don't have to update in each and every class. We will create a separate page for only home page where you have this home page elements. So if there is any change on the home page, you will go to only one class. If there is any change on the login page, you will go to the one class. So it gives easiness for the maintenance, and we can also isolate the issues easily when we have this page object model applied. Okay. So now let us do that page object model. I'm not directly showing you the page object model. I'm showing you how we can achieve, or in what steps we will achieve this page object model. Okay. So let us go step by step. I'm creating a separate packages for you. I'm creating separate packages. New package. This will be dot POF dot page locators. I'm just creating some package, and I want to create a new class C1 underscore separate by locators. Okay, I don't want a main method here, so I'm not selecting it. Okay, and I will also create another package where I want to run this code, whatever I write here. So I'm going to create another package. com.pompf.runners. Okay, in this I'll create a class underscore separate by locators underscore runner. This is the runner class, so I need a main method. All right. So now, as promised or as discussed, what I want to do is I want to just a second. I'll go to, where is this? I'll go to this. First things first. So this will be common. So I'll have this in my runner class. I have to open the browser and I have to go to the I have to maximize it, and then I have to go to Orange HRM site, right? So, okay, these are the first things common. So I'll be having it here. But now on the login page or on the elements pages, we have all the elements written inside the class, right? Now I don't want to, as part of step one, I'm not going to do all at once. So going step by step, as part of step one, I want to separate this part. I want to remove this from the script so that it becomes more readable, and it becomes easy for maintenance. Okay. So this part I am going to add in locators, separate by locators class. How am I going to do? I'm going to create some variables, public, static, and final. I don't want to, we already discussed what is public, what is static, and what is final, right? Final means somebody who cannot change it. Public means it will be accessible in any package, and static means the memory will be, I mean, if you make any changes, or if something happened to the changes, it will be permanent. Right. Okay. What is this type? I want to store web elements, right? So web element, and what is the first element? Txt underscore user text box underscore username. For this, sorry, it should not be web element. I am separating only by locators. So it is by text box of username. So here I'm going to use by.id that's all. You see, I have just separated this part by.id of text username. Similarly, same for password. Okay. So I'm going to create some variables like this. Txt username, txt password, and then for button login, I'll just rename, I'll change them, but I'm just copying. Then PIM, add employee, and then first name, last name, and click on save. Suppose these are all the elements that I'm going to do. So this will be text box password. So identity was password, and this will be button login. So button underscore login, and what was the ID? btn login, right? Am I doing it correct? txt password, and this is using class name, but we also have button. Right? Yep, its ID is btn login. Sub class, here it is, btn login, and then I want to click on PIM. So I'll say lnk underscore PIM. For PIM, we used by dot link text, and the link text is PIM. Another link is lnk underscore add employee. So here also we are going to use by dot partial link text or link text, anything we can use. So I'm using add emp, and then first name, right? We will enter the first name. I don't remember. I hope this is the first name identity. Last name, and then we have button underscore add employee page underscore save. Let us check those things. Inspect. ID is first name, which I wrote is correct. And last name will be last name. ID is last name. And then we have a save button whose ID is btn save. That's all. So now what did we do is we have all the locators at one place. However, whether you use ID or name or XPath, whatever you are using, all those locators will be present in this locators class. So now, if you compare with this, we have separated this part, the actual locator technique, okay. Actual mechanism, how are we identifying the element, we have separated. Now, on the runner class, what we have to use these locators, right? We have to use these locators. So I'm going to use inheritance concept here and use extends this class, so that whatever the methods present inside this class, I'll be able to use directly, right? Okay. So now here, now let's see driver find element. I want to enter text box underscore login. You see, are you able to see all the elements that we have created in the other class? So I want to enter on the username, text box dot username dot, and I'll pass. And similarly, find element and then text box of password dot set keys of. See how neat it is looking. The readability is increased, right? If anybody who sees this code, okay, they'll understand, okay, we are finding some element called the text box username, and then we are entering this text, right? We removed the center part, which is the locator text. Find element and then button login dot, not clear, it will be clear. Okay, and then driver dot find element lnk pim dot, and then lnk add employee dot, and then text box of first name dot send keys. You can send any first name, fn underscore bilocators. Okay, driver dot element text box of last name dot send keys of len underscore bilocators. Something, some name, and then I have to click on save button, add employee save. That's all. Dot. You see how neatly the code is looking. Is the readability increased when compared to the other scripts or previous scripts? Right? And the same, whenever we want to use the username element, we will get it from this class. So if there is a change in the username identification, instead of txt username, let us assume that it is changed to txt underscore username. You don't have to go to each of the class and change it. You can just come to this locators class and then update it here, so that wherever you used this variable, the identification will be automatically updated. Understood? Is that clear? The first step. Hello. Fine. I'll be running this class. This is step 1. We have just separated the bilocators. There won't be any change, but you will be able to run it. See? It's going to PIM, add employee, FN bilocators, LN bilocators. So we are able to create it. Right? The user is created successfully. Still, I'm not satisfied with this. I don't want to show this driver object here, or I don't want to get the, I don't want to find the element in my runner class. I want it to be in a separate page. I don't want to do this in my main class. I don't want to show this, that I'm finding this username. I just want to say that enter text on this username element. Okay. So that is the next step. So that here, now we have reduced only the center word, that is the locator technique. Now we are going to reduce, or we are going to remove this complete part. Okay. This complete element location part. So for that, I'm going to create another class, new class C2 underscore separate underscore element locators. And here also I don't need any main method. So this. So now what I'll do is, yeah, here it is. So I have the elements over here, but I don't want to use these bilocators. What I want to do is I want to write some methods inside my separate element locators method. So how do I write those methods? Public static. For now I'm keeping it as void, and then I'll write get underscore username underscore text box. So this is my method name. This is not taking any parameter. So here inside this, okay, let us assume that we are passing the WebDriver to this, or we want to pass. If you want to work on a browser, then you need a driver object, but this driver object will be present in your executor class, right? In the runner class itself, you'll have this driver object. How do we pass this driver to the separate element locators? Separate element locators. We have to pass it. How can we pass? When we create an object, we will be able to pass it, right? When we create an object, we'll be able to pass it via constructor, right? So we can create a constructor called C2 separate element locators. Make this as public because everybody should be able to access it. And then to this, I have to pass the WebDriver object. Now, so okay, I'm passing the driver object to this constructor, but I want to have it outside of this outside in all the other methods. Do you remember? We will use class level variables, WebDriver driver. I've created a class level variable, but I'm getting the driver from this method. To assign this driver, whatever I'm getting from the runner class via constructor needs to be passed to this class level object, right? So that is why what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the keyword called this dot driver is equals to driver. That's all. So now what I'm doing, whatever the driver object that I'm getting from the runner class via constructor, I am assigning that to the local class variable. Remember the keyword usage this? In Java, we discussed it. Fine. This is the class where we discussed about super and this keyword. Okay. All right. Now I have the driver object. So I'm going to use this driver dot find element. Driver dot find element. Since this is a static area, you cannot access the instance member. So that is why I changed this member to static. Okay. Driver dot find element. Here you can use either you can use this directly, or we already have this C1 separate by locator. So I'll just copy paste these things into this class. Okay, all the members are here. So I'll use this txt box username. And if I find the element here, I'm not doing the operations here. I'm doing the operations in my runner class. So I want to pass out this element to the runner class. So I'll add a return keyword. And what am I returning here? It's a web element. So I'll change it to this. That's, you see, I'm finding that element and then I'm returning it to my runner class. When I call this method, it will return me the element. Fine. So now I'm going to create a similar methods for username, password, sign in, PIM, add employee, first name, last name, and save. All the methods. Get. I want a password text box. Get password text box, and this will be text box underscore password. Okay. Then here it will be get login underscore button. This will be button underscore. This will be first name text box. So no, it will be PIM. Get PIM underscore link. I'm mentioning what type of element is it on the method name so that everybody, I mean, whenever you see this method, you'll be able to understand. Okay, we are getting login button, we are getting the password text box, we are getting the username text box. So it will make the reader comfortable what type of element we are getting. So that is the reason I'm appending this text box, button, and all those things. It is not mandatory to have in the same format. You can have any method name, but to make it more meaningful and easy to understand, I'm using this naming convention. Okay, if you have a separate naming convention for your organization or for your team, you can follow that. Okay, then once we get PIM, I want add employee link, add employee underscore LNK. Okay, here it is LNK underscore and then this is again lnk underscore add. So this makes my life easy, right? I can search with the same element type and I'm adding this. Okay, then here first name text box, this will be my first, and this will be the last name, text box of first name, text box of last name, and this will be save, get, save underscore button. This will be my button add. So now I'm having methods for each of the elements here, right? Now in my main class, I'm going to create a separate runner. So here we have just separated the bilocators, right? We have separated only this part, but now we are going to separate all this part. Okay. So I'm going to write another class here, new class, and here I'm going to execute the operation. So I need a main method. C2 underscore separate underscore element underscore run. Okay. Now here also, first things first. So the common part, there is a common part. This is our common part to get the driver and go to the URL and maximize the browser. So this is common. Now here is the driver, but I'm not going to find the element on this class. Right? I already have a method, or I already have some methods for these elements, which are returning these elements to me. Okay. What I'll do is I have to pass this driver object to this particular class, right? So I'm going to create an object for it. C2 underscore separate element locators. Okay, obj is equals to new C2 separate element locators of this driver. Okay, now we are passing it. The driver is being passed to the other class. I don't have to store it in a variable. I can just simply use this anonymous keyword so that the driver is passed to this particular class, and then I can use extents of C2 underscore separate element locators. Already there, right? C2 separate element locators. I don't want to have my driver here. It's okay. Fine. So we will use the object only. Okay. Now here I'll say these are all elements. Right? Elements. Now I'll say element dot get username text box, and then dot send keys of admin, element dot get password text box dot send keys of admin part 3. These are all static, so you can simply use this class level using the class name. You can use it. That's okay. Let the warnings be, no problem. Element dot get, where is the login button dot, okay. Then element dot get PIM dot play, and then element dot get add employee link dot element dot text box dot underscore element locators. Element dot get last name dot send keys. Then underscore element locators. Element dot get add employee save button dot. Now you see, did it increase the readability? Right? It increased the readability of our class, right? Okay. You don't want to see these warnings also, then you can use the class name directly. You can use the class name directly. Okay. Or we can have these methods, or instead of having a constructor and passing the driver to the constructor and then calling those methods, we can have this method, or we can have these lines directly inside this element locators. We can create a new method, or we can on the constructor itself. Okay, on the constructor itself, we can have all this. I don't want to have this. Okay, now, so on the runner, it is not needed for me to use this. And then I don't have to create a construct object here. I'm showing you some other way. Okay, extends C2 underscore separate element locators. See, okay. This constructor has a parameter which is not needed for now, so I saved it. Now the error is gone, so I don't have to use these elements as well. Just to remove the warnings, I did these all extra operations. You see now how simple and how neat it looks. You see it? We are getting the username and sending the text, getting the password and sending the text, and getting the login button and clicking on it. That's all. See how simple it became and how readable, how the readability is increased here. Is that clear, guys? It increases the readability and also reusability. Wherever you want the username text box, you just call this method so that you will get the username element. Wherever you want to use the PIM link, you just call this method, you will get the PIM link. Get it? How simplified the code is now? We have written all the methods and elements in a separate class. And then we have the operations here. Okay. Let me run this and show so that we can move to step 3. Something wrong. This is a driver. This driver. Am I assigning? Okay. Yeah. See why this is not assigning the value. Did I create any object for this class? If I don't create any object for this class, then this constructor will not be called, right? So instead of constructor, what I'll do is public void launch application. I'm calling this launch application, and I'll also pass some variables, string browser name, string app URL, so that I can pass the browser name also. Whatever the browser I want, I can pass it. And I can also change the application whenever I need. So to increase the reusability, I'm making those things as parameters. Okay. So first step is launching application. So I'll call launch here. Launch application and the separate element locators. Launch application, I'm going to pass two parameters. Okay, why is it not showing? Because I didn't make it as static. If it is not static, then you have to create object and use. If it is static, you can use them directly. Okay. Comma and the app URL. That's all. Where is the app URL? You see now how neat it looks. We are launching the application on browser with this URL and then entering the text box, password, entering the username, password, clicking on login button, and then it's pretty clear. It's easy to understand, right? Readability is increased and reusability is increased for the elements. If any changes happening, you can just go to this method and change this element. That's all. That will be enough. What do we say? If you change it one place, wherever you are using this username text box method, it will be reflected. You don't have to go to each class and do it. Right? Understood? This is a second level of POM, page object model. Let's see. See, element locators, first name element locators, last name element locators. We have created some user. This is successfully run, right? Now we have separated the element locators, but now I'm not satisfied with the separation of element locators. I don't want to see this send keys method or this operation also inside my runner class. I want to completely remove this operation as well. I don't want to see this operation in my runner class. So I want to separate this, or I want to have a separate method for this as well. So for that, I'm going to my runner class. I'll copy this, create a new class here. Or I'll just copy this class and I'll rename it. Okay, C3, and then it is not element locators. This is separate operations. Okay, insert. Now that we already have the elements, we already have the methods that are returning the elements. Okay, so I don't want these methods to be exposed to public. So what I'm going to do is I'll make them as private. All the public keywords I'm going to make as private. Public. And then I'm going to replace it with private. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll replace all. Okay, every public keyword is changed to private, but I don't want this class to be private, so I'll make this as public. Because if it is private, I won't be able to access any of these methods inside this. Okay, this should also be public. Launch application, I should be able to access this from any class. Okay, so I've created this. Now, instead of using these methods, okay, the last level is to have them separated. Okay, the operation also separated. To separate it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write some public methods. Public void enter user. Okay, enter username. And then for this, I have to pass a value, right, to enter a username. So I'm saying string uname. So we already have a method for getting the username. Get username method. Where is that? Get username text box dot send keys of uname. Okay. And similarly, I'm going to write some methods for all the other operations as well. Password, login, PIM, add employee, first name, last. Okay. Enter password, and this will be a string password, and then this will be get password text box dot send keys of password. Okay, and then click login. So for login click, I don't need to pass any parameter. I just want to click it, right? So I'll say get login button dot click. Okay, and then click PIM link. Click PIM link. So I don't want to pass any parameter to this also. It's because it's just a click. I'll say get PIM link dot click. And similarly for this, get add employee link dot click. And for this also, I don't need any parameter. Are you following me? Click add employee, and then this will be enter first name, or this as if name. This will be get first name text box dot send keys. This will be get last name text box dot send keys. This will be a name. Last name. Okay, and then we have another method, that is clicking on save. Click add employee save. Here it is. Get add employee save button dot click. Now that we have all the methods here, you see how many methods we have. Only a few elements, that is 3 plus 3 6 and 8 elements. So we have written 16 methods, one for getting the element and the other one for performing the operation. So if you have 40 elements, then how many methods will become here? It will be 80. For each element you are writing 2 methods, so it will become 80. So what will happen if it happens like this? It will be an issue for maintenance when we have the whole application or scenarios elements in a single page. If we suppose, let us assume that there are 500 elements that we are clicking or entering text. So 500 into 2,000 methods, each method having 3 lines. So how many lines of code you have in the single class? 3,000 to 4,000 lines of code, which will become again difficult for us to maintain all these things, right? So in this level, what are we going to do is we are going to separate these into pages. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, instead of having these separate operations, what I'm going to do is I'll make this as a page. Okay, I'll make this as a separate page. Or okay, let me create a runner for this, and the next level I'll show you to have having them separated into different pages. C3 underscore separate operations underscore runner. Okay, I need a main method. Now here, this is again extending which class? Extends C3 underscore separate operations. Okay. Now launch application, pass row, and I'll pass the URL. Where is the URL? This is. Let's copy this. Okay. Now I'm launching the application. Then I want to enter username, so I will just enter. Didn't I make it public? Okay, these are not static. That is why you are not able to see it. Let me add static. Without static, if there is no static, then you have to create an object again. I don't want to have that object line in the beginning. So that is why I'm making everything static so that I can use them directly without any object in beginning. Okay, now let's go back. Then let's see. You see now, enter username. I'll say admin. And then I'll say enter password. Admin123. Then click login. And then click. Okay, click PIM link. Click add employee link. And then enter first name. I'll say FN underscore separate operations. And then enter last name. Okay, last name underscore separate operations. And then add a employee. That's all. You see now how simple and how easy it is looking. Anybody who sees, they can understand. Okay, I'm entering username, I'm entering password, I'm clicking on login button, and then I'm clicking on PIM, I'm clicking on add employee, I'm entering first name, last name, and clicking on save. See how simple it became now to write the test cases. You understood this? This is the third level. Now let us move into the final and fourth level, having these separated into pages, different pages. Okay. Let me run this. You see, separate operations user is created, ln separate operations, separate operations. Okay. Now this is executed successfully. Is it understood both Bobby and Yanji, all these three different levels and how I derived this or how I come to this point? Are you listening to this session actually? Yes. Okay, fine. Thank you, Bobby. All right. Now we have this. Now let us move to the next level. That is, see, like I said, now all these methods are written inside a single class. Now that we have only 8 elements, so we have 16 methods. So it was a little easy for us to identify, it was a little easy to maintain these methods. But when you have hundreds of elements on a page, for example, now you're on the PIM page or on the home page, you have all these modules, right? You have to write all these elements when you are automating all the whole application. You have to write all these elements. So each element, and again, under user management, under jobs, under attendance, under reports, we have so many elements here. So if you keep on writing this, suppose let us assume that there are 200 elements, then you will have 400 methods. So 400 methods you have to write here in a single page. And if you want to maintain, or if you want to change something, if you want to look at something, you have to scroll up and down. And there are chances that, for example, the save button it might be present in multiple places. You see here, edit employee is also having save, add employee is also having save, and edit custom field also have save, edit attachments. Okay, for attachments there is no save, but you see save button is having in multiple places. So if you say button save, then it will be confusing, right? Which save button is that? Is it personal detail save? Is it custom field save? Or is it add employee save? Or is it some other save? It will become clumsier and it will become difficult for us to check those elements if you have everything in a single class, right? So that is why what are we going to do is we are going to separate them into multiple pages. Okay. So now I'm going to have under the page locators, I'm going to create new 3 classes. C4 underscore. Now what is the page? I'll say login page. I don't want a main method over here. Just finish. And then insert this login page. I'm not going to create all the methods. I'm going to have only the operations which are related to the login. That means this login page related elements. I created login page related elements, and then I am creating methods for login page elements, only login page related elements. Okay, and then operations of this login page. Enter username, enter password, and click on log. See, this is reduced now. Okay, we do not have a WebDriver over here, so I'm going to pass, or I'm going to create an object called WebDriver over here. Okay, but how do I get the driver object to this class? Via constructor. So I'm going to create a constructor over here. C4 login page, and this will accept the WebDriver. Okay, and then I'll assign this dot driver is equal to okay, and this will be a public class. What's wrong with this? Okay, this is not static, so that is why it is. Okay, that's all. I don't want to expose this driver object to the other classes, so I'm making it as private. I don't want to expose any of these methods so that there won't be any confusion. I'm exposing only these methods to the other classes. Okay. Now, similarly, I'll create pages for home page. Okay. Rename it to C4 underscore 1 or C4 underscore login page. It's okay. Then I'll create a new class C4 underscore home page. And here I'm going to create only elements related which are to the home page. That is PIM and then add employee. Okay, it's better to have C4 underscore 2 underscore home page. This also I'll rename it to C4 underscore 1 so that this will be in order. then now, okay, I have this. Where are my methods related to this? Get PIM, add employee PIM. Copy those methods here. And then operations also click PIM and click add employee PIM. See now, when we divide those by page level, you are reducing the number of elements that you create in each class, so that you don't have to worry, and it is made sure that these are all applicable, right? We are able to use these methods anywhere now. All the elements of this particular page and operations will be done in a single class. And if you take the save, you don't have to worry about the save button method name, because you are separating them by classes. You can call the save method from this class. It will click on the save button. You can call the save button from other class. It will click on that save button. Okay. Right. And I need a constructor for this. Public C4 to home page. Save as web driver. Driver. Okay. They make something wrong. This is web element. Sorry. You see, for the driver, I made it as web element. It should be actually web driver. You're also not observing and you're not saying. Okay. Now, or this is done. Now we are done with the home page. Let us create another class for our add employee page. C4 underscore 3 underscore add employee page. Now here also I am going to have the same constructor and all those things. Web driver, private. Then I'm creating a class constructor. This will also be a public. Okay. And then now let us start copying the methods of add employee page. That is entering first name, entering last name, and then clicking on add employee page. You have to get this. All, and then we have the elements. Okay, so now that we have 1, 2, 3, 3 separate classes. Now you can separate these elements and then create a separate run class. But what happens is, let me create this new class C4 underscore pages underscore run. I need a main method. All right. Here again, I need the driver object. So I'll copy the common steps. Where are those common steps? Here are they. Okay, I've created this. Now to run the script or to call the methods from these pages, I have to create objects for each of the page. C41 underscore login page, login PG, or I'll say PG underscore login is equals to new C41. Now we are passing the driver to that particular class. So I can call the methods from that object. What is the method? What is the username? And again, page underscore login dot enter password, that is admin123, and then page underscore login dot click login. That's all. You see it? So since these are static methods, we can change this to class name, but you can also use this pg underscore login. So no problem if you use it in this way or in that way. So there won't be any issues. Okay. Now similarly, I'm going to create another object for home page. Pg underscore home is equals to new. What's happening? Okay, and then page underscore home dot click PIM. So now this is separated, right? You see only the methods or elements which are related to that particular page. You won't be able to see all the elements. You will be able to see only the methods or elements located to this particular page. Right? Then now C4 underscore 3 add employee page, PG underscore add EMP equals to new add employee page. PG underscore add employee dot. You will see only methods which are related to the add employee class. There are only 3 methods. You see, it's pretty simple and easy, right, to identify those methods and use those methods. We'll enter the first name, fn pages, and pg underscore add employee dot enter last name, and then you will say underscore add employee dot add employees. Now you see this, we have reduced one more level. We have reduced one more level of difficulty. Instead of having all these methods in a single class, we are creating in separate classes, and then we are creating objects for each of those class, and then we are calling those methods. Right? Now let me run this. Are you able to get it, Bobby and Yanji? Or is it just over your head? Okay. See, FN pages and LN pages, the user is created successfully. Now that we are done. But see here, now for a login page, my naming convention is PG underscore login. Okay, after a few days, I might forget the naming convention, and whenever I want to run or whenever I want to execute another test case, I might create an object for this login page with the naming convention such as logon underscore PG. So people, when a new employee joins the team, they'll get confused, right? What is this PG underscore login and what is this logon underscore PG? In each class, you'll have a separate name. So this will create issues with the all people. Whoever is working on it, they'll get confused. Okay, what is this PG login and what is this? Is it separate pages or is it the same page? Right? So to avoid those unnecessary confusions, what we will do is we will add an extra layer to this. What is that extra layer? Let me open my whiteboard. You are able to see my whiteboard, right? Okay. So I have suppose I'm having multiple classes here. 1, 2. Okay. Now these are all page level classes, and then I have a executor class here. Okay, I'm having these classes now. This is login page, right? Then this is home page. This is add employee page. For example, we have these 3 pages now. Okay, and then this is our runner class. So now when we are working on it, in the previous example, what we did is we have created object for each of these class. For each of these class inside this runner class, right? We have created. Okay, I'll do one thing. This is runner class. I'll make it. This is runner class 1 or runner class 2. Okay, and I'll also create another runner class for another test case. Okay, this will be my runner class 1. So when I want to work with this login page, home page, and add employee page, I have to create objects of this login page in this class, and also in this class, and for home page in this class, and also in this class, for add employee page in this class, and also in this class. So for example, now I'm creating an object when let us assume this runner class is created by person 1 and this is created by person 2. So here the naming convention they followed is page underscore login, page underscore home, and here page underscore add emp. Okay, but here the other person who is unaware that you are using this naming convention, they created login underscore page. Okay, and then home underscore page, and then here add employee underscore page. You see, 2 different people on the same project created 2 separate objects with the 2 separate names, right? So when a third person enters, for suppose this class is created by me and this class is created by Anji. When Bobby comes into this team and she wants to execute a few test cases and she has some issues she wants to debug. Now while going through the code, she will see, okay, somewhere we are using pg underscore login, and say, in some of the classes we are using login underscore page. So will she get confused or not? Whether these pages are same or not, she will not be able to understand, because we are not following the same naming convention, or we are not giving clear instructions that these both objects are related to the same page. There is no way that we submit them or we inform the user, right? So that is why what are we going to do here is we are going to introduce, let me clear it. You understood this, right? The problem with this, when we have separate pages and we are creating objects for each page, you understood this? What will be the problem with different pages? Is that clear? That is clear. Then I'll show you the how can we solve it. No? Yes? Fine. Assuming it is clearly understood to you, because you didn't respond anything. Fine. Now I'll clear this drawing. I'm clearing everything. Gone. Now again, I have this home page, and then add employee page. So we have these 3 pages, and instead of uh, having a direct runner class, runner 1, the runner 2, one thing. I'll make this as a runner 1, and I'll make this as a runner 2. But instead of directly creating objects of this login page in this class and in this class, what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce an extra class over here. Okay, this class is my integration class. Okay, and this is runner 1. This is runner 2. So whenever I'm creating or whenever I want the pages, I'm not going to create objects of this login page. I'm not going to create objects of this login page. So this is not moving. I'm not going to create object. I'm not going to create objects for this login page directly inside this. This is not going to happen. What I'm going to do? What I'm going to do is I'm going to create page objects in this class, in the integration class, and on the runner classes, I'll just create one object. Okay, so here what I'm going to say is I'll say pg underscore login. Okay, and then pg underscore home. I'm creating some variables here. pg underscore add employee. And then when I create object for this integration class here, I will be able to access these members. I'm not going to create again variables for these classes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create object for this integration class. So when I create object for this integration class, for example, integ obj is equals to new integ. So I created an object for this, and then if I use this object obj dot, I will be able to see this IntelliSense which is saying all these page names. So I can use directly like this. Enter username. So I don't have to worry to have a different naming convention. Whether I write it here or whether I write it here, I'll have the same page underscore login underscore. For example, I'm writing here, and I'll also write obj2 is equals to new integ. This is all pseudo code. I'm just writing for you to understand. Okay, obj2 dot pg underscore login dot enter username. You see, now though two different people are using, there is no change in the page name pg underscore login, because this is coming from the integration class where we have decided already the name of the pages. You understood? Is that clear? So there won't be any confusion that what is this page? Is it a different or is it the same page? So nobody will have any confusion. Whenever you create a new page, for example, now I want to create a new page. So I'll just create a new page here, and then I'll add an object for that particular page inside this integration class. So for example, let us say this is login page, add employee page, and then this is employee details page. Okay, so I have created it, so I have to add that page into this integration class. So whoever is using or whoever is creating object for this integration class, they'll be able to see all the pages. Understood? I'll say page underscore details. So everybody whoever, whenever you create a new page, you have to create that particular object in the integration class. And anybody who is creating object for this integration class, they'll be able to see all the pages. You don't have to remember the page names as well. Is that clear? Yes, super Yanti. Thank you. So I'm closing this share. I'm going to my Eclipse again so that we can create an integration class and I can show you some demo. Okay, right? Close all. Now that we already have the login page, home page, and add employee page, we need only the integration class, right? We need the integration class. So I'm going to create an integration class inside the page locations. C5 underscore page integration. I don't need a main method over here. Okay. So to all these pages, I want to pass the driver object, right? So I'll create the launch application method inside this page integration. Okay. Where is our launch application? Where did I create the launch application method? On the, okay, I have this. I'm going to copy this launch application inside this page integration. I have a launch application. Okay. Okay. Anyway, we are going to create object for this C5 page integration. So I'm going to create, or the driver is here itself, right? Say web driver. Make it this as private, static. Let me import this web driver. Come on. Yeah. So now the launch application method is created, and then I want to create objects for all the pages that I created for login page, home page, and add employee page, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some public variables. Public C4 underscore 1 underscore login page. I'll mark the name as page underscore login. Okay. Similarly, public C4 underscore 2 home page underscore home, and then public C4 underscore 3 add employee page underscore add employee. So what am I doing? I'm creating a public variable. I just created a variable for it. Now I want to assign values to it, right? I want to assign the I want to create an object for these things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a constructor for this, or I'll say I'll create another variable. Because I'm going to create all these. Okay, I created all the variables. Now I'm creating public void get page objects. Okay, and inside this page objects, I'm going to create objects for each of these things. P underscore login is equals to new login page. C4 login page where I'm passing the drive. Okay, and then pg underscore home is equals to new C4 underscore 2 of home page, and then pg underscore add employee is equals to new C4 underscore, and this we have to call this method somewhere, right? So when I launch the application itself, I'll create all the objects for pages. So what I'm going to do is I'll call this get page objects method inside this. So what I'm doing, I will open the browser. I'll go to this particular URL. I'll maximize, and as a prerequisite, I'm creating objects for all these pages, so that when I want to run it on the runners, let me do it. New class CFI underscore integration. I want a main method. Okay, and then this is going to extend CFI underscore page integration. Okay, and inside the main method, what we want to do, we want to launch the application first. You see, launch application, which is taking Chrome and the app URL. What is the URL? Runners. Yeah, I have it here. So the same launch application, but from a different class. Okay, launch application, and then what I have to do? Page underscore login. Am I seeing all the pages? You see, from where are they coming? From C5 page integration. Do you see that? Right. So I'll take page underscore login dot enter username. What is that? And then again, page underscore login dot enter password. 1, 2, 3. And then on the same page, page underscore login, I want to click on login button. You see how simple it is and how easy it is, right? And then page underscore home dot click on the home page. I want to click on PIM link, and on the home page I want to click on add employee, and then on the add employee page I want to enter first name FN underscore, again page underscore add employee. Anybody who wants to use this, they will use the same naming convention. They will follow the same naming convention for all the pages. So there won't be any confusion, and it will be easy for anyone to understand. LN underscore integration, and then PG underscore add employee dot save button. That's all. You understood? Instead of creating objects in your runner class, what are we doing is we are creating a separate integration class. This is our integration class where we are creating object for all the pages. So you don't have to worry about the naming convention of each page, and you don't have to get confused with the different naming conventions followed by different people in your team. So since you have this integration class, whoever creates a new page, they will add that page object here. So what will happen? You'll be able to access these methods directly, or you'll be able to access this variable directly when you create an integration class object. So the only rule that you have to follow here is you have to extend it with the integration class. Now you see how easy it is, right? Now let me run this. There won't be any change in the application flow, but the way that we written the code is different. See how simple and how easy it is looking for now, right? See, FN integ, LN integ. So integration class object. So the user is created from the integration class, right? So this is all about page object model in Selenium. So you don't need to worry about the level C1, C2, C3. You can ignore them. You can directly use this C4 and C5. But to make you understand, to make you easily understand why am I doing this, I have to come from scratch and I have to show you one by one level. Understood? So this is all about the page object model. Tomorrow we'll see page factory model. There is another way in Selenium which is called as page object factory. Let us see that in tomorrow's session. Before leaving, any questions in today's session?
Nikhil, so do you mean to say like we don't need another the other class at all, only the class 4, or
No, what I'm saying is generally in real time, we will use only these 3, 4 these individual page classes. Okay, close all and then show you. See, we will use this individual page classes because in this class itself you have the element. In this class itself you have the methods for getting the elements, and in this class itself you will have the operations. Then do you need to separate these individually again? No, right? So that's what I'm saying. So in real time, you won't see these classes. This is for making you understand. I came level by level. See, in the separate by locators, what did I do? I just had this by elements, which is same as this, right? You understood? You see now, you can compare it now. This is login page and this is normal by locators. In this by locators, I'm having only by elements, but here I'm having by locators along with the elements. Okay, this is by locators and then I have element locators. Let me open this element locators. It is opening here. Okay, now you see the element locators. You have you have this elements and then you have the methods which are returning those elements. But if you see here, okay, I have the elements and I have the methods which are returning those elements. So I have all these things inside this class in a single page. Okay, now let me open this separate operations. So what is the difference between element locators and operations? It has both the locators, it has the methods that are getting the elements, and it has the methods that are performing the operations, right? Now here also you see, you have the by locators, you have the methods which are returning the elements, you have the methods which are returning the operations. So do you need these 3 classes, C1, C2 and C3? Because you already have these things inside your class, right? You understood? Just to make you understand, I went level by level. First level, I had only by locators. Second level, I had by locators and the methods which are returning those elements. And third level, I have the by locators, I have the methods which are returning the elements and the methods which are performing the operations. Understood? And fourth level, we divided it into each page to make it easy for maintenance. So you don't have to worry about this level 1, level 2, level 3 because we don't see it in real time. You see from level 4 itself because this is the real time implementation. You'll have separate pages for each, separate classes for each page on the application. And you'll have all the methods, locators, and everything related to that page in the same class. Understood? Is that clear, Yanji?
Yes, Nikhil, got it.
Just to make you understand, I used 3 separate levels, extra classes. Otherwise, I could have directly written this.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions for me? No? Okay. Fine then. Have a great sleep. I know I overtook 5 minutes today, but I can't help it. Yeah. All right. Then have a great day. Have a great sleep. Bye-bye.
Bye, Nikhil.